of 6 summer sessions this summer for Department of Rehabilitation Student Services. Today's topics are careers in the computer field and careers in the medical field, especially entry level. And we have two presenters today, Matthew Morgan, who is with Department of Rehabilitation, and Vanya Edgar-Lee, who's from Canal Valley Adult Education, who's going to talk about the medical fields. So I'm going to turn it over to Matthew first. And then we'll have Vanya afterwards. If you have questions, a couple of housekeeping, if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and put them in the chat, or you can ask them in between the two presenters. And so, Matthew, thank you for joining us. I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me and welcome everybody. So I'm here to talk about computer technology today. Um, I was given a couple of prompts to work from, and first question that I was asked was, what are some of the careers that people can get into with computer skills? Now, there's a lot of different ways and methodologies of getting into the computer field. And these are just some of them. There are other methodologies. I had a very niche way of getting into our department, which I'll discuss here in a little bit. But one of the first things that we have is the software developer or a software engineer. These individuals will design or develop and maintain different software applications. So if you play video games, that's a software designer and developer. Um, we also, in the state, we have a lot of network administrators. So these are people that manage and maintain the computer networks within our organizations, and make sure that the connections work between all the computers and also make sure that all of our telecommunications work. So Zoom, Teams, phones, and make sure that everything talks together. We also have database administrators. They make sure that databases are running efficiently and securely. We have IT support teams. So an IT support specialist would go through and provide technical support to the users in the field that may not know as much about computers. I know quite a few of those out there. Um, we also have people that do web development, so editing and working in HTML code, CSS, um, all the different parts that have to do with web design. We also have cloud infrastructure engineers, so making sure that all of our storage systems that are out there in the cloud and other cloud applications can work together. Um, Also in our department, we have cybersecurity analysts. So those are the people that go through and verify and validate whether or not something is safe to work with our computers and to also protect our computer systems and networks against cyber threats. Um, Now, the team that I got involved with was the quality assurance testing team, and I started off as becoming a accessibility specialist. So here in the Department of Rehabilitation, we make sure that all of our technologies work for those that have disabilities, including blind or dexterity issues. So we would test with JAWS and other screen readers, along with Dragon and other voice command softwares. Um, a couple of other high level ones are a data scientist who would analyze and interpret complex datas. We also have DevOps engineers that work into a DevOps system that helps organize planning. We also have systems analysts that analyze and design the technology solutions that meet the business needs. And then something new that's coming up and recently in the last decade or so is an AI or a machine learning engineer who obviously works in machine learning and implement AI technologies. So the second question that I was asked was, what type of education would somebody need to enter into these fields? Now, it all depends. I myself went to college for 6 years, but never got a bachelor's degree. But the entire time I was working in the computer industry, so I have had almost 3 decades of experience working in computers. So it doesn't matter whether or not you have a degree or whether you have a lot of experience. You can use a combination of those effects to be able to get into the technology field. I'll just go from bottom to top on degree levels. With the associate degree would be great for roles like an IT support specialist, people that help people in the field, or the network administrator. So that would be a 2, 3 year degree. Bachelor's degrees, which are like a 4 year degree, which would go for typically for software developers, data scientists, cybersecurity analysts, and computer science or computer information technology are some of those common degrees that you would hold. Um, Beyond there, we're looking at about a 6-year degree would be a master's degree. Those might be needed for advanced roles like a data scientist or an AI machine learning engineer, or other specialized areas. Now, there are a bunch of certifications that are available out there. For accessibility, you have certifications in screen readers like JAWS or certifications in NVDA. The Department of Homeland Security actually has what's called the Trusted Tester Program, which is also another free certification that you can go through Department of Homeland Security. But for other computer information areas, we have CompTIA A+, we have Network Plus, Security Plus, Amazon Web Services Certified Solutions Architects. There's dozens of different certifications out there that you would be able to study for and actually move forward in for a specific field. Now, the following question I had, the third question was, what skills should someone have to be able to enter into this field? Number one, I'm going to say you need to have communication skills. You need to be able to explain a technical concept in a very non-technical way for stakeholders that don't necessarily know what's going on with computers. I've always used a really good analogy of a desktop computer is a lot like an office space where you have a computer can separate out into multiple parts. You have your computer with your processor. That's how fast somebody can type in a computer. You have your RAM, which is the amount of desk space that you have to look at any given document at once. Your hard drive is kind of like a filing cabinet stored off to the side that takes a little bit of time to rifle through and be able to pull out something and put on your desktop so you can read it, because you can't read something directly out of a filing cabinet. So there's different methodologies for communication skills. Um, but you also need to know different programming languages sometimes. I myself have a little bit of knowledge in HTML, Java, C, C++, and Python. I'm not a programmer, but I know a little bit about all of those things, and that's how I got into the quality assurance team. I'm able to review the code. I don't know how to write it, but I can sit there and say, "Hey, this might need to be fixed. There's an error here when we experience this in the application. So let me look at the code and, oh, this is where it's happening. This part of the code needs to go." So knowing languages like Python, Java, C++, JavaScript, HTML, HHS, not HHS, HTML, XML, YAML. There's dozens of different programming languages out there, but Python and C and Java are very, very large in the programming world. Um, you'll need the ability to problem solve. You'll need to troubleshoot and solve other complex problems that have happened when it comes to working with computer programs. Um, for data systems scientist or a systems analyst, you're going to want really strong analytical skills and a good math background as well. For networking, you're going to want knowledge on how network administration works. You're going to want to know how networks connect. You're going to want to know how MAC addresses work. You're going to want to know how the IP address works. For cloud computing, you'd want to understand cloud services and architectures such as the Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud Services. Cybersecurity experts need to have specific information on protecting data and data systems. And a lot of the times we have what's called product managers. These product managers will actually go through and help put teams together that have the specific roles that need to be filled in each of those complex processes. So, say you're developing an app and you need somebody to work on the cloud, you need somebody to work in the network, you need somebody to do testing, and you need somebody to do program. You grab those people together and pull all the requirements together so that way they can come through and provide a linkage between everybody within the team. So, a product manager or a project manager is also another one of those very needed people in the IT industry. Now, my job, I'm an information t technology supervisor too. I am a supervisor over our web team and our quality assurance team. Like I said, I came to the department as our accessible technology specialist 3 years ago. 3 years ago, just 2 days ago. So I just celebrated my third anniversary here at the Department of Rehabilitation as a staff member. Um, I got into this role because I used to be in theater. You wouldn't believe it, but I was in theater. I was a technical director at a 547 seat vaudeville playhouse. And everything in that theater was programmed. All of our sound design was programmed. All of our lighting design was programmed. All of the flies over the stage was programmed. So I had a programming background in the physical space that I was able to bring into this space. But about 11 years ago, I found out I have retinitis pigmentosa. And where I was working, they said that they wouldn't be able to accommodate me in my role at that position. So I started working with the Department of Rehabilitation as a consumer, like many of you. And I worked with my counselor. He said, "Hey, I know you really want to stay in theater. We'll keep trying, but you really should check out this other aspect of life. You should try looking into this because I see you have all these technical skills. You've gone through all this technical knowledge all these years. Try getting into accessibility, figure out how to do that." Um, so I did, and I went through and I worked with my local blind center, and I started learning how to use screen readers. Then I started teaching people how to use the screen readers. And then I started testing with those screen readers as a normal user would. And then my counselor said, "Hey, by the way, there's this job here at the department you might want to consider." So I applied and I got it, and I've been here and I've loved it ever since. So just so you know, there's always a place for you to go. You never know where the world's going to take you. It's going to take you on loops, turns, weaves, and you can go kicking and screaming, but it might turn out to be something super awesome for you. My favorite part about this job is sharing with people like you, sharing with those of in our community like me that have a disability. My disability is hidden. Not everybody knows I'm legally blind. Um, but being able to share with others in our community and share with those outside of our community, say, "Hey, there's a world that you may not be considering. Accessibility is a challenge for so many people. And if we don't do things right for those with disabilities, they won't be able to access the same information that you're looking at or you're easily able to access. So we need to make sure that we're considering all of these factors when we're going in and making a program or writing a website or even simply providing documentation." Now, the next question I was asked was, what can somebody to expect to make if they get into a job in the computer field? So the salaries vary widely, and a lot of it has to do with your experience level. Um, so just expect that if you come in at a lower level, you'll be making about 40 to $50,000 a year. Um, and that's on par with our a little bit above our hamburger flipping uh, fast food restaurants in the United or in California nowadays. But if you take those extra 2 years in college, you can start looking at 70 to $100,000 a year quite easily. It's all going to depend on where you live and who you work for too. Um, we at the state, we get paid okay in the IT industry. But if you're able to land a job with Google or Alphabet or Meta or Alphabet, Google, Meta or Apple or Amazon, one of those many others, there's a lot of money in those departments. You can get 150, $250,000 a year if you start going in that direction. But as always, it's going to start low and you're going to work your way up. And a lot of people in the IT industry end up changing jobs every couple of years because they like taking on a new challenge or a new endeavor. A lot of people will work at Amazon for 2 years, say, "Okay, I've put as much effort into this application as I possibly can. I'm going to look for something else. And they start migrating out into a larger endeavor for themselves. And they'll maybe get a job with Google and they'll increase their salary. So just keep in mind that in the IT space, a lot of people move from job to job every couple of years to be able to increase their salaries. A lot of people, and me included, they actually very much enjoy working at a very constant position. I'm sorry, my cat just joined me. They enjoy working on a very constant position in their role. And I love working in the quality assurance field. I love working in the accessibility space. And it's a great place to be because I make sure that all of the stuff that we here at the department use is accessible. So, Janet, I thank you very much for inviting me out here to speak today.
All right,
Are there
thank
any
you.
questions?
I don't see any in the chat right now, but
Thanks,
maybe
Jason.
there'll be some toward the end too. And why don't we'll turn it over to the other presenter and then we can answer questions at the end if that's okay, Matt?
Sure be.
All right. All right. I'd like to turn it over now to Vanya from Canal Valley Adult Education. Welcome, Vanya. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, and thank you, Janet, for inviting me. I appreciate it. So, hi everyone. My name is Vanya. I'm an instructor, lead medical instructor over here at Conejo Valley Adult School in our medical department. And I was just asked to come on and chat about what we have to offer, some opportunities that are available for you guys. And some of the training programs that we offer in the medical side are medical office. We also have medical assisting, pharmacy technician, phlebotomy technician. We have certified caregiver, EKG technician, physical therapy aide, medical terminology, along with our emergency medical technician, so our EMT class. All of these are what we would consider trades, and going in without a degree is totally fine. I've actually worked in the medical field over 20 years. I love the field, but to start off in the field, you don't necessarily need a degree. Can you add degrees to it? 100% towards the end if you want to expand. We will help and kind of give you some guidance on what schools are best for you, what other classes to take if you wanted to add on to these programs. There are externships that we have available. They are to teach you kind of on the job training on top of the training that you're going to get in the classroom setting. But we've got opportunities for externships for our pharmacy technicians, our medical assistants, our medical office assistants, our phlebotomy students are required an externship in order to get their license. And then for our EMT program, it does include 2 ride-alongs. So there's a lot of different opportunities for students to kind of pick and choose what kind of career they want to build for themselves because our classes are buildable. So you can build on top of each of them. So some of the careers that you can get into after your training are going to be they're kind of the same names, but we've got medical office assistant, and starting off entry level, it's very good pay. You're looking at entry level, $20-ish an hour to start, plus you can go up from there. There's also a second portion to that career itself, which is clinical medical assisting, where you're helping not only with the back office or clinical portion of the office, but you're working in or the front office portion of it, you're working in the back office also. So you're going to be able to do both, helping scheduling patients and then working side by side with the physician and the nurses. For emergency medical technicians, they're the ones that are going to provide that basic life support for people when they're in an emergency situation. They assess patients. They have advanced first aid. They use breathing aids, administration of oxygen. They're taught how to use AEDs, CPR. There's tons of stuff that goes into it. And then transportation of ill and injured people. For that entry level, you're looking at, again, maybe $19, $20 range, but really good careers to start in to work up from. For clinical medical assisting, it's a little bit more. It's about 23 to start an hour. And that's just entry level. That's based on just our experience with our students being hired out into facilities. We also have our billing and coding, which is you're responsible for processing patient data, med records, along with their insurance, so that the doctor's offices are able to be paid by the insurance companies. For our EKG technician, you are going to learn how to perform EKGs, other diagnostic tests, and you're going to be able to help a physician in diagnosing and treating cardiac conditions in patients. Pharmacy technician is another great career, and that is our technicians would work closely with a pharmacist. They are the ones who are filling the medications, working with the patients coming in with their prescriptions, making sure that health and safety is considered when it comes to the patients, processing insurance claims, tracking inventory, filing paperwork, tons of different opportunities as a pharmacy tech. It's a little bit on the lower level, but again, for entry level, you're looking at 17. And then medication tech would be a caregiver who can prepare and administer medications to patients under the supervision of a nurse, or another qualified caregiver. And that's about same range as our pharmacy technician. Then we have our caregiver, our physical therapy aides, and caregiving is essentially going into somebody's home, caring for them, helping them with food, showering, diapering, different things like that. And then our physical therapy aide works side by side with the physical therapist to train a patient on the exercises that they need to get better from an injury or to heal from an injury. There are tons and tons and tons of jobs available in the medical, just in medical careers alone. There's been a 20% increase in the last year, and it is expected to increase another 20% in 2025. So there are so many opportunities available to our students. We have a national exam that goes with most of our classes, and we have a 99% pass rate for those national exams. Also, we have about 95% hire rate within 3 weeks of graduation. So our students are getting hired, they're getting on into jobs, they're moving forward very quickly. And most of my students, once they complete one program, they either enroll in another program here at the school, or they'll go into a college setting to just kind of add to what they already know. And so they're really, really great opportunities to have a job that pays well while you're working towards something else, if that's what you choose to do. I will say enrollment into our classes is pretty simple. I know it was one of the questions that was asked was enrollment. So enrolling, you can call the school or you can go to our school's website, just conejoadulted.org, and we're able to help with all of the enrollment and everything like that. There are payment plans available, lots of ways for us to help and make sure that our students are successful once they, successfully completing the course and they're successful in the field. So I think that's about all I had in it. But like I said, really quick before I pass it back to Janet, is that when I said that you're able to build on top of classes, so we'll have students that'll start and they'll want medical office. And then they'll say, well, wait, I just don't want to do the front with the phones. I want to go ahead and do the back office where I can get in there, do the injections, give medications, work with the patient one-on-one. So they'll add to that. From there, if they say, hey, we would like to do EKG too, we can add on to that. So it doesn't mean that you have to stop, go away, come back. If you're taking a program with us and we have the availability to enroll you into a secondary program that you're interested in, we can definitely do that for you guys. So it's something that, we're able to kind of create a package that works for the career that you're looking for. Does anybody have any questions? Anything? No questions?
I don't see any in the chat right now. But again, like I said, this is being recorded, so there may be other questions when other people get to see it too. But this has been great information. I really appreciate you coming on, Vanya, and also Matthews. Thank you so much for taking the time
Well,
to
thank
share
you.
your ideas and your thoughts about the different careers that our students might be interested in getting involved in. This
Well,
has been
thank you so
great.
much, Janet.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks. And if there's any other questions, we can always circle back to them.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. We'll let you know. Thank you so much. All right. And then for those that joined us today, thank you for coming. Our next week, we are having our info series is on apprenticeships. So we hope you'll be able to join us. We have two really great speakers that's going to come on and talk about the different apprenticeship opportunities in our area and how to get involved in those as well. So hopefully we'll see you next week at 11. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.